All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Chris Crenshaw, and we are live from the 336 once again for episode 198 of the 815 Exchange. And well, ladies and gentlemen, we have Undisputed. We have the WNBA regular season kicking off. We have Game 7s to talk about in the NBA and NHL playoffs. So, as always, remember, go get your food. Go get your drink. Deer Park, unofficial water sponsor. Go get comfortable. Because we got some stuff to debrief, ladies and gentlemen. We got some stuff to debrief. The end of the European football seasons as well has arrived. So yeah, we got plenty to talk about here for episode 198. At least one last time from the 336 as well. Before we are back to the 704. But yes, we got a lot on tap for today. So as always, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you guys are enjoying the content. And as always, everything you're looking for in this life can be found in the description. Timestamps are embedded in the video and also in the description, as well as my social media links in the description and in the outro. But like I said, without further ado, no need to waste too much time on this intro. No need to spend, a lot of time on the intro, ladies and gentlemen. To quote the great Aubrey Graham, it's boxing. It's boxing. We have to talk about the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship was on the line, of course, via Saudi Arabia, because that is pretty much Tyson Fury's home country at this point. So yes, we had the greats Alexander Usyk versus the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury. And this was a fight it's been a long time coming. There's been a long build towards getting an undisputed heavyweight champion. Of course, originally we started out with 3, right? It was AJ, Anthony Joshua, the Bronze Bomber, Deontay Wilder, and of course the Gypsy King, as I've mentioned before, Tyson Fury. And through that kind of 3, AJ kind of teetered off, lost the belt, and was kind of doing his own side quest. Eventually got caught into that Usyk line when he decided to come up from cruiserweight, got murked for his titles there. Fury, of course, and Wilder had, an incredible rivalry that produced, some incredible moments in modern boxing history. That ended up with Fury coming out on top, which brings us to here. One of the biggest fights, I think, honestly, in terms of history, in terms of, legacy and we've had in modern boxing. We've had a lot of these we've reached that era where we're getting a lot of more undisputed champions. We have a lot of those belt collections and those long-term rivalries are starting to come ahead lately, as we've seen. But yeah, we reached here. Usyk, of course, to lay the land. Undisputed cruiserweight champion, Olympic gold medalist. He has beaten everybody that is anybody pretty much in heavyweight. There was one name left to talk off the list and one accomplishment left to cement his place as not just a legend in boxing, but as one of the aforementioned names, I think, when you speak about in boxing history, if he would become one of the few men, the handful of men to ever be undisputed cruiserweight champion and undisputed heavyweight champion, plus the Olympic gold medal. I mean, he'd have the ultimate resume alongside being undefeated. Tyson Fury, of course, was looking to prove without a doubt that he is who a lot of people thought Tyson Fury was, and that is the best heavyweight boxer of his generation. He has reigned as king for a very, very long time. Essentially, since he took out Klitschko, it has been Tyson Fury's division. Would he cement himself as the premier in this division when we talk about it in history? And for the early part of this fight, for the first, let's say, 7 rounds, I think I had Tyson Fury up 5-2. It looked like Fury was headed that way. It looked like he had Usyk figured out. He was swaggering. He was sweltering. All right, Fury was turning it on. But as we say, ladies and gentlemen, one punch can change everything. And not just the fight game, but especially in boxing, one punch. And you know what? I saw it coming because I saw the way that he was falling for the feints throughout, the early part of those rounds. I felt like, man, if Usyk unleashes that left hand, this could get very troublesome for Tyson Fury. And finally, he unleashed that left hand, and boy, Fury might have got saved. I'm not going to lie to you. Fury may have got saved. I think the ref saved him a little bit because if Fury was not 6'9", when that little stretch where he was completely out of it, just bouncing off the ropes, I mean, we've seen fights get called off for much less than what Fury was showing, but he survives that because, he's got a superhuman just kind of regeneration. And honestly even won the 12th round. But, as we say, and as we said with Garcia and Haney, it's just so hard to give a fighter in a close fight after seeing them in trouble like that. And Usyk was never in that kind of type of trouble. It's so hard to give, that person the win. The person that was in trouble. So that is what happened. Usyk gets the win by split decision and cements his place as a pound for pound all-time great. Fury, I don't like his comments after the fights. But I think we need to stop, interviewing fighters after they lost. I don't know why that's a thing. You can talk to them in the press conference if they're, able to go to the press conference, but we have to stop and in the fight. I do not understand why we interview the losers because they're never going to say anything. It's always never going to come off good. Never. Not even from pub press from a marketing. It never, ever comes off good. So, Fury's comments about they gave him the win because his country's at war. That was just in bad taste. I wasn't a fan of it. But, I think this was a fight, a very, very good fight. A fight that lived up to the Undisputed tag. A fight that lived up to, this is the two best heavyweights of this generation. Let's let them go at it. So, I think that was very worthy, and I think the fight was worthy of the hype and the billing, Ring of Fire, all of that. So yeah, they both did well. We will get a rematch, I believe, in October. Usyk's never going to back down from a fight, so that should be very interesting. The rematch is going to be very interesting to see, what type of adjustments are made. Fury could have won this fight, if he kept himself out of trouble. Usyk has to correct some of the, work early on that, he was lacking and cost him a couple rounds before he was able to rock Fury. So, yeah, should be very interesting. But ladies and gentlemen, Alexander Usyk, one of the greatest to ever do it, undisputably. Now, of course, we're going to let the NBA main event. We're going to let the NBA main event, so I have to subject myself to some pain here for the NHL segment as, we have reached the conference finals, or we're on the brink of the conference finals. We do have a game 7 tonight, which we'll talk about. But before we get there, oh boy. I mean, we were making a valiant comeback here. Game 6, we were up 3-1. Looked like the Hurricanes were in control. We're about to send this to 7, send it back to New York. Could we pull off the 3-0 to 4-3? Could we do it? No, because Chris Kreider went for a third period natural hat trick. I'm still in disbelief that happened. The Rangers somehow come back from 3-1, the most dangerous lead of all in sports, come back and win 5-3 to win Game 6 and advance to the Eastern Conference Finals after Chris Kreider goes nuclear and the Hurricanes just fall apart. Frederik Andersen. Freddie, my boy. Freddie. Sometimes I adore you, but it is moments like this and every other team that Freddie Andersen has been at has had this happen. He just somehow falls apart. Certain moments, the moment gets too big, piss running down his leg, he can't handle the heat, and he falls apart. And that is what happened. He fell apart. To put it as bluntly as I can, no disrespect, he fell apart. And Kreider, Rangers, took advantage. I mean, they were the better team all series. Let's be honest. They went up 3-0. Kane started fighting back, but the Rangers have been the best team, arguably, in the playoff. They have proven why they won the President's Trophy. So, yeah. I mean, they earned it. I can't be mad, but I'm a little disappointed. I'm more than a little disappointed, honestly, because this was a chance to send it to 7. I think we should have sent it to 7, and we just fell apart. Simply put, just fell apart. But yeah, an iconic moment for Chris Kreider in Rangers history. Nobody will ever, certainly not anytime soon, be forgetting a natural hat trick in the third period to send your team to the Eastern Conference Finals. So yeah, shout out to Kreider, shout out to the Rangers. At least New York won something this week. At least they won something, had some good happen. We will talk about what happened with the Knicks. Now, who will they be playing in the Eastern Conference Final? Well, Florida. The Lightning couldn't get him done, but the Florida Panthers most definitely could. The Boston Bruins exist solely to bring, I'm convinced, they exist solely to bring pain to the Toronto Maple Leafs and eliminate them every year, and then just come up short. Every time. That's the sole purpose of the Bruins, is to be the bane of the Maple Leafs' existence and then crash out before anything, serious happens. That seems to be what they had. Of course, this was the most physical series. I mean, it's been a very physical playoffs. And I mean, some of these teams are getting after it. The Rangers and the Canes were getting after it. But none has been as physical, in my opinion, as the Panthers and the Bruins, who very much so, these teams did not like each other. We had the Bennett situation. We had the hit from McAvoy that we talked about last week. It was a mess all week. And the Bruins, despite all of that, and despite, it looking like, them really trying to push that physicality and impose their will on the Panthers, never really were in control of this series. And in game 6, once again, never really ever felt like they were in control. Took the lead, but Florida answered in the second period, and then in the third period, Forsling puts down the dagger, and the Panthers win 2-1. This was a goalie shootout, all right? A duel, if we can say. Jeremy Swayman was on 26 saves, .929. Unfortunately, the offense didn't show up for him. Sergei Bobrovsky, needed a game where he had, vintage Bob. Like top of the level, Vezina quality Bob. We got that in this game. 22 saves, 957. Again, this was a very physical series. Took a lot out of both teams. But the Panthers, listen, they were in control. They won. When it mattered, they won. They didn't care about the moments. They didn't care about the, Bruins trying to get in their head. Didn't matter. Florida was here to win. They went and did just that in Boston. They advanced to take on the Rangers in the Eastern Conference Finals. Of course, we'll talk about that here on the 815 Exchange. One more game 6, ladies and gentlemen. One more for you. Yeah, the Dallas Stars. Could they get it done against the Colorado Avalanche? Of course, the Avalanche have been here, done that. They got McKinnon. They got Makar. You know the score. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this game, of all the game 6s, and we had some very good ones, as you can see, that went down to the wire. This one went to not 1, but 2 OTs. And once again, we had a goalie duel. I mean, we're going at it. And I got to give a shout out. I do. What did I say about Ottinger? I said when Ottinger plays the way that he has throughout this playoffs, but especially when he is in prime dominant Hasek mode, the Stars are a dangerous team. They are a very, very dangerous team and a very difficult team to beat. Very. He had 29 saves in this, and he only let up 1. But he wasn't the only goalie that had a star-making performance. Alexander Georgiev had 36 saves. But unfortunately, it was not enough. It was not enough because, ladies and gentlemen, in double overtime, Matt Duchene gets it done, and the Dallas Stars take out the Colorado Avalanche in 6 to advance to the Western Conference Final. They are now on the doorstep, all right? It was the bets. In a game like this, in a game of this magnitude, in a game this close, you want your veterans, you want your stars of old to show up and show why they were the stars of old. And ladies and gentlemen, that is what happened for the Stars. It was the vets. Duchene, Jamie Benn, Joe Pavelski, Yevgeny Dadonov, shout out to Superman, shout out to 2BC Productions, the best, or at least my favorite hockey, even though Johnny shows up every, 6 months. And of course, Tyler Seguin, who's been leading them throughout this entire series. But it was the veterans. It was the veterans for the Stars. It wasn't the young talent. It wasn't No, it was the veterans. All right, they got it done. The experience showed up when it mattered, and they showed up big here in Game 6. Again, a great goalie duel between Georgiev and once again Ottinger, who's been fantastic. Maybe Conn Smythe, worthy. We'll see. But yeah, the Stars get it done. They take out the Avs, which is no easy task. But credit where credit's due to Dallas. They advance to the Western Conference Final. Who will be playing the Stars? We don't know yet. All right, we don't know yet because Edmonton said we are not going out like that to Vancouver. And they put it on them in Game 6. Simply put, dominated that game. 5-1. They left no doubt. They left no doubt about whether we were getting a Game 7. Left absolutely no doubt. A lot of people were wondering, where's McDavid? McDavid said, here's 3 assists, and now I'm leading the playoffs in points. Do not forget who the best player in the world is. Nugent Hopkins, RNH, 1 goal, 2 apples for him. Like I said, that offense was in pure explosive mode. Again, that is the most dangerous thing about the Oilers. It will always be the most dangerous thing about the Oilers. Especially in a playoff format. You have the best player in the world, you have Draisaitl, and you have just a loaded offense. All right, they can score. That offense can score. They have multiple players that can take over a game. So you have to be mindful, especially when one game can change everything. And yeah, the Oilers came to play in Game 6, left no doubt. Of course, the Canucks are definitely not out of it. Game 7 tonight going to be very interesting. Again, I think this is very similar to that Wolves-Nuggets series in the NBA. Except for game 7 of that series, ironically. So, where whichever team kind of jumps on it and takes that momentum and takes that like torch and runs with it is probably going to be the team that takes it. That's just kind of the way the series has gone. That's what I'm expecting. We will see who will face the Stars in the Western Conference Finals. But yes, the NHL playoffs definitely heating up as we get closer and closer to that Stanley Cup. All right, and that brings us, of course, ladies and gentlemen, to entertainment. And no movies, all right? No movies this week. No movies. But we do have TV, all right? We do have TV. Bridgerton is back, all right? For those, lovers of old-fashioned English era love stories by Shonda Rhimes. Bridgerton is back. All right, we got the focus this year is on Colin, or for the season is on Colin and Penn. Even though Benedict and Fran and Eloise, they're all of the Bridgerton siblings. All right, at least the four oldest that are not married at this point. All right, we know there's a lot of Bridgerton siblings. All right, they are kind of the, taking some subplots and taking some focus. But of course, this year is definitely about Colin and Penn, and they have delivered. All right, they have delivered friends to lovers so far in this first part. Of course, we still got that second part. I'm sure some drama is about to stew, but Colin and Penn look like we in a good situation. It's not hitting, again. It's not hitting the same way that Kane Anthony, all right, it's not hitting that, that level. All right, but that was special. All right, that was a special season. Simone, Ashley, and Jonathan, listen, they were in their bag. Enemies to lovers, top tier trope. All right, so they were in their bag a little bit, and I don't know if we ever gonna top that, but Penn and Colin have been good. So we will see. Second part, Bridgerton is back. One of the biggest shows on Netflix. Another show on Netflix that I so dearly love, of course, is The Blood of Zeus, which is essentially a anime about Greek times. I'm going to pick a lot. It's an anime at this point. I think I said that 4 years ago when it first came out. I don't know if we talked about that on here. That's how long it took for the second season. But the second season still did provide the goods. I love seeing how Seraphim, and hearing more about his story and him as a character. Heron also had a lot of very good character development, had some conflict with himself in this season. And I like the way he concluded. We will see what happens after that, ending. What happens with Heron? Is he coming back? I don't know. He's the main character, the blood of Zeus. So we will see. I don't know. Sticky situation there. Seraphim, what happens there? Hades, of course, honestly stole the show, in my opinion. What they did with that character, I think, was splendid. Even down to that unfortunate betrayal at the end, which sucked, but it was very fitting. And the consequences of what happened after, I think, were very fitting as well. But yeah, Demeter was a great villain as well. So yeah, or Demeter. But yeah. Again, I love Greek mythology. I love that kind of flavored stuff. So that works for me. And of course, I'm an anime fan. So, yeah, just everything hitting there for Blood of Zeus. Very good show. If you forgot about it or you have not seen it, very much so highly recommend you check out the 2 seasons that it has. Only 16 episodes, only about 30 minutes long. So very much so in that anime format. But yeah, Blood of Zeus, very, very good show. Very, very good season. We will see what happens. Hopefully we do not have to wait as long for season 3. Music. Pretty chill week, right? In the outskirts of the rap civil war. Billie Eilish dropped this. You can let me know how that album was. I did not listen to it, but I did listen to the king of the underground, even though he's kind of leaving the underground just as soon as he entered the underground. But Ian, your streamer's favorite rapper, your underground head's favorite rapper, your anybody under 18's favorite rapper right now at this moment. In with Valedictorian, all right? I'm gonna give it an 8.4. All right, I enjoyed it. Again, there's some stuff that he has to improve, but this is his first project, and I enjoyed it for what it was. I enjoyed it, which is why I'm giving it an 8.4. It was a good album. All right, it was a good album. DJ Holiday did a lot of work on this, and it was very cool. It felt like those old, in terms of beat selection and with the Holiday and just the everything, it felt very much so like those old Gucci era albums, mixtape era. So, yeah, I enjoyed that part. I enjoyed that. It made me feel nostalgic. I will say I wish that his transitions between songs were a little bit more cohesive. I think that could have really elevated, and of course, subject matter. And I could go again. He's got to get better. But as his first real project, his first real album, hey, 8.4. I'm cool with it, right? I'm cool with it. Airbnb is so fire. I've been waiting since I heard that snippet. Oh yeah, he didn't put Magic. This might have been a 10 if you put Ian. If you watch this, if you put Magic Johnson on this album, might have been a 10. It might have been a 10, but yeah, we didn't get Magic Johnson, but we did get Airbnb. That has been stuck in my head. That was probably my favorite song off the album. Never Stop, Bentayga, of course, also, or Bentayga, excuse me, were also my other two favorites, I think, probably off the project. I've seen a lot of, kind of bouncing around with people's favorite songs, which is a good thing, adds to, kind of the versatility and just kind of, the different flavors that people like. But yeah, I see a lot of people saying he's a little bit of like a Yeet clone, and there was that like Yeet snippet that came out. But I don't know. I feel like I get it. I see what people are talking about in terms of like the auto-tune and just kind of like that. But I don't really I feel like Ian and Yeet are pretty like, I can tell the difference. Like, I feel like it's a pretty, plain difference, but we'll see what happens. But Ian, continues his speed run of the underground. We will see what happens next in his career. But yeah, he's definitely one of the hottest out right now. Definitely White Boy of the Year so far. So we will see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. But that was entertainment. And with entertainment being done, that of course brings us to our main event, which of course can be nothing else but the National Basketball Association, the playoffs. Oh, the playoffs. And ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of that second round, but boy, do we have some stuff to talk about containing what happened in the second round. We're going to take it back though before we get to the weekend events, and boy, the weekend. We're going to take it back because one team was a fraud, all right? Not really their fault though, because Spider was out. All right, Spider got injured. So the Cavs were kind of cooked. All right, let's be real. You knew what was going to happen. The Celtics did win 60 games. They are the number one seed. So I don't know what you expected. All right, JT at 25, 10 and 9. Al Horford looked like Florida Al Horford, or maybe Atlanta Hawks Al Horford. He had 22, 15, and 5 here in Game 5. As the Boston Celtics win 113-98 and take care of the Cavs. DY continues to be this like elite role player. Doesn't even feel right calling him a role player. He's just like a solid starter. He's just a good player. I don't know how to pay Derek White the respect, the flowers he needs. He's good. I'm not going to say he's all-star. I mean, we were talking about him in All-Star Conference, I guess. But, he's a good championship piece. He's a good championship piece, a good lead guard that you need. 18, 5, and 6 for D. White. The Celtics had 6 players, including all 5 starters in double figures. For the Cavs, listen, no Spider, so it was always going to be an uphill climb. But I will say, Evan Mobley, we've been waiting, right? Cade showed some stuff early, then teetered off as the Pistons sucked. Jalen Green had that month of March, where he was, one of the best players in the league. Franz, besides, his last game he ever played this season was very, very good. Suggs showed some stuff. Like everybody else in that draft class started showing glimpses of maybe they can make that jump into stardom. But we didn't really see that with Mobley this year until this series. Mobley grew up a lot in this series. He showed me something. All right, 33 and 7 in this game for Evan Mobley. He looked every bit that 3rd overall pick. He looked like that guy. So I got to give credit. I got to give my flowers to Mobley. He looked like that guy that a lot of people tabbed as, one of the next great centers of the next generation. He looked like that. He needs to keep that development going, keep looking the parts, because he definitely did. Here in Game 5, he was that lead guy for the Cavs. He stepped up, so credit where credit's due. Marcus Morris had 25 off the bench, so credit where credit's due there. But Darius Garland, I don't want to hear no more about this DG to PG. Nah. I don't even want to hear you in All-Star combos. I'm going to be honest, my boy. You didn't show up. You didn't show up. You did not answer. Darius Garland in the Cavs' time of need, no Spider Mitchell, did not show up. Plain and simple. The lights got too bright. The moment got too big, and he shriveled. Oh, he shriveled under the pressure. 4, not even 6 this time. 4 for 17 here in Game 5. Garland was useless. He had 9 assists, but he was, for the most part, useless in this game, and he was useless for the Cavs this series. They're going to need him to figure out who he wants to be. DG needs to figure out over the offseason what he wants to be. An okay, expendable point guard, or do you want to be a cornerstone of this franchise? Because before all this, we were talking about DG the PG as one of the cornerstones of this Cleveland Cavs, going forward. He looked very, very expendable in this series. He did not carry his weight. He was getting outplayed by every single guard on the Celtics roster, whether it was on the bench or starting. All right, it was an ugly series for Garland. It was an ugly playoffs for Garland. We're going to need to see a lot more from him to start off next year because, it was not pretty. The Cavs, like I said, though, they were doomed from the start with no Spida. Celtics handle business. They move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Let's go to the West. We're going to go back and forth here. Saturday, chronologically, I guess, so to speak. We had a very big game. A very, 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 very big game, ladies and gentlemen. The Oklahoma City Thunder and the Dallas Mavericks. Luka versus Shea. Kyrie versus the next guard. Jay Will, Chet, Live. Who could take it? The Mavs have a penchant for making the Western Conference Finals, it feels. But the Thunder, the Oklahoma City Thunder have been that team. They have been that team here. I think this is Game 6? They have been that team throughout the year. They made that jump. Are they ready? Youngest team to ever make it this far. Are they ready? Almost. But it was not enough. SGA was otherworldly. Superstar. Purely. Stamped it. He stamped it in this series and especially in this game. When it is time for your number to be called and you have to be a superstar and you perform the way that SGA did, especially here in Game 6 at Dallas, the way he showed up and kept that team in the game, he finished with 36, by the way. You are a superstar. He is stamped, certified, one of the best players in the league, if you didn't know already. But it was not enough. And it wasn't his fault, but it was not enough. Luka Doncic has 29, 10, and 10, and that triple-double helps power the Dallas Mavericks to a 117-116 win to advance to the Western Conference Final. Derek Lively, 12 and 15. All right, and it felt like he had 15 offensive rebounds. Lively was him. All right, he was a beast on the boards, and it was big time for the Dallas Mavericks in this game. He bullied Chet down the stretch. Chet finished with 21 in this game, but was rendered irrelevant to finish this game. Or actually, he was relevant because he was a detriment. He was a detriment to that OKC team. Again, Chet, very young. He's going to be fine, but Lively, he proved something. He played like he had something to prove in this Game 6. He made the plays when they needed to happen. He was there to create those other opportunities for the Mavericks. So I got to give a shout out to my Duke boy, Derek Lively. Did it for his mother. Again, sending my condolences once again. But yeah, Lively made her proud. It made the Mavericks fandom proud. It made Duke proud. All right, he put on. All right, Lively put on, dominated Chet. KI did not play particularly great this series, but what did I say last week? I said Kyrie Irving is one of the greatest closers in the history of the NBA. And once again, KI didn't play a great game. Kai did not play a great game, but when it mattered, who was there? Kyrie Irving once again helps close out another series. It's what he does. And it's simply what he does. So he avoids the washed allegations for yet another series and for yet another game. PJ Washington did not go as, he was been going crazy. All right, PJ has been going crazy. I don't know what it is about him in this jersey that turned him into prime Reggie Miller, but hey, it's working. All right, it is working in Dallas. PJ was not great in this game, but made both threes that he hit, both in clutch time, and both were very, very clutch. So yeah, congrats to Washington. PJ is, stepped up almost at times like that third star that the Mavericks need. They're going to need him for this next series. Like I said, Shai had 36. Chet had 21. J. Will had 22, 9, and 8. But like I said, they just couldn't close. Again, too young maybe. Maybe it's the youth. It's their first time here. I think they'll be fine. Long term, I think the Thunder will be okay. I don't think this is, an ender or they're never getting back. I saw somebody post like, yo, the Thunder will be back. And somebody under it posted that clip of when they lost to the Heat and they had the KD, Russ, and James Harden big three when they were younger. And they're like, yeah, they're going to get back, surely. And then they split up and they never got back. So, I don't think it's going to go like that this time. But, yeah, OKC, a lot to learn, a lot to take, some positives. But you got to close. Luka, showed why in the end, why he's one of the best players on earth. And a lot of people think he is going to be, and I've even said going to be the best player in the world if he's not already. Though, we'll talk about Jokic. We'll talk about Jokic. But yeah, Luka, Kai, they get it done. Mavs to the Western Conference Final. Ladies and gentlemen, would you like some Game 7s? Would you like to hear about some Game 7s yesterday? All right. The Indiana Pacers have held on, but ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks would not go silently into the night, and that presented us with a Game 7, all right? A Game 7 live from the Garden. OG packed with every type of painkiller you could possibly find. Josh Hart, don't even know if he can breathe. He's playing, listen, Dibs has run these guys into the ground, but you know what? The Knicks are here to fight for one more game. Unfortunately for them, Tyrese Halliburton was on timing, and the Indiana Pacers were on timing and said, yeah, we're having our Madison Square Garden moment, okay? They break the NBA playoff record for team field goal percentage with 67 as they drop 130 points on the New York Knicks in the Garden and win 130-109. This was a butchering, all right? It was a butchering, but you know what? The Knicks just kind of ran out of gas. All right, there's no other way to put it. Brunson broke his hand. And once that happened, it was over. All right, Dante DiVincenzo finally, after selling me on 2 straight parlays, decided to finally have a game. 39, 9 threes, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. The Knicks were out of gas and out of players, and the Pacers were on. Like I said, a historic shooting performance for a team in the playoffs. All 5 starters had over 17 points. Of course, Holly led the way with 26 and was talking his ish all game long. All right, he was feeling himself, very much so reminiscent of that, the Reggie Miller Pacers versus the Knicks. He was on. All right, he was on and popping. So credit where credit's due to Holly for looking every bit the Team USA All-Star, All-NBA point guard that we, expected him to be, but he hasn't really played like since the year started, but looks more like that in this Game 7 and was big. All right, the Pacers just dominated. Like I said, Dibs, what got them there, right? What got the Knicks there is also what kind of cursed them. And it's a recurring theme with Dibs. All right, he ran them into the ground. OG, injured. Brunson, injured. Hart, injured. Julius Randle, injured, right? These guys playing 40 minutes a game. Makes them productive, gets the best. He can get the best out of these guys. But I think for their long-term success, for the Knicks to take that next step, he has to be able to rely more on that bench and have more than just 5 players we're running with. And then, whoever's the 6th and 7th will throw you in when they need, a second to breathe. Like they need more than that. You need more than that to win a championship. You need more than that to be amongst the elite. And the Knicks, they're building something. They are headed in the right direction with the Villanova 3, with, Randall, with what they got. But they need to keep it going. They need to keep it going. So I would like to see that in the offseason, get a little bit more depth so you don't have to rely on these guys and burn them out the way that Dibs so classically does. And you saw what happened. Again, they just ran out of gas here, and the Pacers were more fresh and, took care of business. Simply put, they took care of business. Indiana will take on Boston in the Eastern Conference Final. But who would be playing the Dallas Mavericks? Of course, we had the most hotly anticipated game of the entire playoffs, I dare say. I said it at the beginning of the series. There was only one team that could deny the Denver Nuggets of a repeat. And unfortunately, they had to play them in the second round. But while the Wolves looked like maybe they were that team, the Nuggets, quickly answered back and showed why. Why they are defending champions. Why they are the championship favorites. And it led us here to a Game 7 in Denver. Which, of course, typically Game 7s hosted by the home team or won by the home team. But, despite Jamal Murray having that one game where he goes nuclear, he had 35 in this game. And despite Nikola Jokic doing Joker things, he had 34, 19, and 7. Despite all that, ladies and gentlemen, the Minnesota Timberwolves are real. They are so very real. And Anthony Edwards is not waiting. He is not waiting for his time to come. At 22, he's not waiting for, I need to go through the trauma of a heartbreaking loss and then I build myself through the story. No. They are not waiting to take the torch. They're just going to grab it off your corpse. Because the Wolves continue their butchering of the previous generation by taking down the reigning champs 98-90. They were down by more than 20 in this game. Anthony Edwards had an awful, if you look at the box score, you're wondering what the hell happened. Ant-Man shot 6 for 24. 6 for 24 in this game. Ugly game for him. But when it mattered, he became the reincarnate of Michael Jordan again. He became Jordan's son once again and helped power that team. Cat, even though he made me very frustrated on that inbounds play at the end of the game and nearly cost him, came right back. We said Cat needed to answer the bell. He needs to show why he is a star center in this league. 23-12 in Game 7 will do that. That putback to put the game away, that will do that. The defense he played this series against Jokic will do that. Now, Rudy wasn't really, really notable, but he was fine. I'd rather instead talk about the man we call Big Jelly. If you know him from the high school game, if you know him from his Roselle Catholic days in New Jersey when he was a 5-star forward, and a member of the famed Jelly fam, you would know that Big Jelly is one of them ones. And boy, oh boy, has Nas Reed proved throughout the season, besides even the fact that, he won 6th Man of the Year, he is one of them ones. That skill set at that size is a problem. And it is a championship piece. A brilliant, for the modern NBA, a brilliant championship piece. And he belongs to the Wolves. They are not waiting. They are not waiting to just take part. They're not waiting to, hey, we made it to the... They are coming to take the torch. Ant is not waiting his time. Now is his time. And I gotta say, after taking out the Nuggets in the fashion that they did, with Jamal Murray and Joker playing the best game that they did, you gotta say, in my opinion, I think it's theirs to take. It is their ring to lose. It is the Wolves' ring to lose. The size they have, the defense they play, the coaching, and the superstar that they have in Anthony Edwards. They gotta be the favorite. I don't care if the Celtics won 60 games and have been here 50 million times. I don't care. No disrespect to the Pacers, but you're the odd team out. And listen, Luka, unless he's in God mode, again, y'all don't got the size to compete here. This is the Wolves to lose. We will see what happens, but boy, oh boy, they look dangerous after taking out the reigning champs. And again, Jamal, Joker went off. I did what they had to do, but the rest of the team had 21 points. You can't win like that. You cannot win like that. As great as Murray and Jokic were here in Game 7, you need everybody else. The way that the Wolves, when Ant was out, had everybody else take part in that comeback. Mike Conley, I didn't mention, right? Jaden McDaniels, right? all these players came together. A team wins championships, not just singular players. The Nuggets have a great team, but those guys did not show up. 21 combined points from your team outside your 2 stars is not going to win. KCP has to do more. Aaron Gordon has to do more. Michael Porter Jr. has to do more against teams that are not the Lakers. All right, you need more from those guys, and they did not get it, and that cost them. All right, the Wolves come all the way back, and they have to be in the driver's seat here as we head to the Western Conference Finals. It's going to be a lot of fun. This has been a really good playoffs. I think it's going to continue. By the way, either one of Tatum, Halliburton, Edwards, or Luka is going to win their first championship. We are in a new era. Welcome it. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the roundup, and boy, oh boy, motorsport provided a little bit of it, just a little bit of excitement. All right, just a little bit of excitement here. First, let's go to Imola. Let's go to Italy. All right, home race for Ferrari. They look good all practice weekend, which of course means that Max is going to tie Ayrton Senna for the pole record, by the way. Of course, you knew that was going to happen. And you knew that he was going to finish it off with a win. All right, we knew these things were going to happen. But you know what? Lando Norris and McLaren got something brewing. They got something brewing. Because he nearly pulled off the comeback. I mean, I haven't seen Max get walked down like that in ever. Like in since prime Lewis at Mercedes. I haven't seen Max get walked down like that. I haven't seen Red Bull get walked down like that McLaren and Lando Norris walked him down in the closing stages of this race. I mean, and if Lando doesn't make that one little mistake, he might have gone back to back. And he might be he'd be the first back-to-back winner not named Max Verstappen since who? Like Lewis? From like 4 years ago? I mean, or maybe Charles did it during, 3 years ago. He might have done it early. But my goodness, Lando, McLaren are looking dangerous. Charles, speaking of him, did, make the Tifosi proud. He did get third. He did get that podium. So it keeps the momentum there. But yeah, McLaren, they got something cooking. They got something cooking. And this was a testament, by the way. Max also is a lunatic for driving the iRacing 24 Hours of Nürburgring while also doing, everything for Imola. Absolute lunatic, but that's Max for you. But this is credit to Max's talent, by the way, that he was able to win in this Red Bull this week. This was the first week in a long time where Red Bull did not have the best car. Checo finished 9th. He didn't even make Q3 again, right? Max talent and him being Max Verstappen showed up big time why he's a generational talent and helped power that car. As you saw, McLaren had the best car, but Max was able to hold on. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, Lando is cooking, boy. He is hot. He is hot. You know who else is hot? Ricky Stenhouse Jr. After him and Kyle Busch got into it in the All-Star race, which was won by Joey Logano, by the way. Congrats to Joey on winning the money. KB and Stenhouse, we had a brawl at the All-Star, not at a regular race, at an all-star race. North Wilkesboro. It's supposed to be a grand old time, but we throwing hands like it's old days. So I guess that's kind of fitting in a way. But yeah, KB and Stenhouse get into it. Kyle wrecks Stenhouse during the race. So Stenhouse then parks his car where Kyle's supposed to, park at the end of the race. Climbs out, has some choice words with, the team. Then waits outside of Kyle's camper after Kyle gets out of the car. They have a discussion. Ricky throws a vicious sucker punch, a right hook, lands it, and then we got a brawl. All right, between the teams. Ricky Stenhouse's father got into it. It was wild. All right, it was absolutely wild. Bonkers. The footage for that was crazy. And yeah, I felt a little bad for Kyle, which I haven't felt in a while. But yeah, Stenhouse was hot. But yeah, the All-Star race providing the drama, which probably wasn't expected. But yeah, also shout out to Kyle Larson for, doing the Indy 500 and Coke at the same time. Kudos. He qualified 5th for the Indy 500. So yeah, that'd be super cool if he won Indy somehow. And also on the, that would be insane. But if anybody has the talent to do it, it's Kyle Larson. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, shout out to Logano, though, on actually winning the All-Star race. It came down to Championship Sunday. Of course it did. But unfortunately, that one loss, man. That one loss came to haunt Arsenal because they were down 2 points. And even though West Ham, could they do it? Listen, Phil Foden won Player of the Year. A lot of people were saying Cole Palmer should have done it. But listen, Phil Foden showed why he was Player of the Year in the Premier League this year with a dominant, started it early, a dominant performance versus West Ham. He looked every bit the star boy that he is in Manchester Blue. Okay? Closed it out. And ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in Premier League history, we got 4 in a row. Who's the Farmers League now? Who's the Farmers League now? All right, Man City's just different gravy. All right, simply put, super team. You knew that, but yeah, just one of the best, if not, I mean, this has to be the best run in the Premier League ever. I feel bad for these second place teams against these Pep teams because you score 96 points, you should win the championship, but it's just never enough. It's just never enough. All right, it's just never enough against a Pep-led team, and especially a team with the quality that Man City has right now. So yeah, Foden goes off. Man City win their 4th. They're on top of the English footballing world. BO4. All right, Bayern never losing. Concluded their Bundesliga season with the undefeated still intact. A dominant win to cap off a dominant, invincible season. So credit to Chappie and the boys. Like we talked about them last week. There's nothing else to be said. All right, this has been one of the coolest things I think we've seen in soccer in this century. Is this invincible run from a team like Bayern Leverkusen? So yeah, just so dope. Congrats to Leverkusen. Invincible. Welcome to history. WNBA. Yeah, WNBA. We ain't done yet. All right, Caitlin Clark played her best game. Played her best game of the season. All right, it was a rough start, but she played her best game against the Liberty on the weekend. But it wasn't enough because Stewie is Stewie and the Liberty are still the Liberty. And yeah, I just think it's, her adjusting to the league, which she'll be fine. She's shown everything that, Caitlin Clark, the scoring, the playmaking, it's all there. It's just got to be put together. Again, the WNBA has a higher degree of adjustment because of the lack of window between the end of their season and the start of the WNBA season, and just because of the league. There's a higher kind of jump, a curve, should I say, for rookies. So, yeah, Caitlin, while generational, will have to go through that curve. She is special, but she is not, not going to be a skipping, especially as a guard, right? Candace Parker, who retired, by the way, shouts Candace, was the exception. We've had rookies dominate, and Caitlin may even dominate rest of the season, but there's going to be a little bit of a curve. So, there should be some grace to her in the fever. Though there are some glaring holes on that team. There are some glaring holes in that team. I think they need Kiki Irfin in this next draft. I think her, Caitlin, and Aaliyah would be magic. That would be magic. And then you just got to put 2 other shooters. The other 2 positions in that starting lineup, you got to get the best 3-and-D players you can get and just put shooters around Caitlin and just flourish. Kiki and Aaliyah down low, settles that. Put 2 shooters around so they can kick out 2 that can make shots. I think that'd be perfect. And then let Caitlin run the show. The fever of the best. Despite the turnovers, you got to let her overcome that. That's part of the curve. The turnovers will eventually get better as she adjusts, all right? Even though they're high right now, let her adjust. It's better when she runs the show. Even though she can play off ball, that's cool to see. But you got to let Caitlin run the show. Cam Brink looking like an early Rookie of the Year candidate alongside Angel Reese, even though I didn't put her in my notes. But yeah, Brink looking, the defense is translated. She got to, watch the fouls. But yeah, she looked good against the Aces. Again, 5 blocks against the defending champions. Had some good moments against Asia. Credit where credit's due. Unfortunately, the Aces are still the Aces and Asia is still Asia. So they did get the win. But yeah, Brink and Rakia Jackson, who shot perfect from the field, both look good. I think they need Paige. All right. Because I think Rakia, Cam, and Paige would just be kind of that perfect setup with Kia Nurse already on that team and what they got, Lexi Brown. I think that would bode really well. But we'll see what happens there for the Sparks. And yeah, we'll see. WNBA going to be very fun to cover over the course of the season. And of course, to end off, ladies and gentlemen, the New York Yankees are looking very good. Tied for the best record in the MLB. We just swept the White Sox and gave the Indians the work. Aaron Judge is back. Luis Gill is unstoppable. Clark Schmidt is unstoppable. Juan Soto is Juan Soto. And the Yankees are looking good. The Bronx Bombers are cooking up. Of course, still very early on in the season. Cole's coming back soon. The Martian's looking good in my... Listen, I gotta enjoy my moments as a Yankees fan because sometimes it can come crashing down. Hopefully it doesn't, but you know, we're gonna give our flowers while we can. More MLB coverage, of course, to go on as the season continues. Shohei Ohtani, of course, leads the league in WAR as a DH. So yes, Ohtani is still the best player in the world, in case you forgot. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed. What a week. And yeah, I'll see you for episode 199. Getting very close to that 200 mark. I wonder what I have prepared. But yeah, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed. Ocho signing off.